Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Gurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvadam Ganganapade Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharani Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 14th of July 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan residing in the Hridaya Akash, inside the Atma Tattva, inside the heart of every single being. With that prarthana, we are continuing to examine the Prem-Lakshana Bhakti. Prem-Lakshana Bhakti is the height of devotion. It is where love reaches its culmination point, where there is non-directional state of love flowing in every place, in all directions. Now, what does that mean? I mean, what exactly is non-directional love? So, hold on one second here. Okay, so we want to understand this concept of non-directional love. We use this word love in English in many, many different ways. The word that we want to use in Sanskrit is bhakti. Now, is bhakti love? Of course. Love is, what is bhakti? No doubt. But again, this word in English that we say love, we use that in so many different ways. So more accurate would be love towards God. Love towards God is bhakti. And non-directional bhakti is love towards God who exists everywhere. That is the 10th bhakti, the non-directional bhakti. The 9 forms of devotion are directed towards a particular murti, ishtadevata, guru, etc. There's a murti in front of us, there is a picture of a guru, or there's a temple or a church or whatever, and we're focusing our vritti, our thoughts, our emotions in a particular direction. That is called directional sadhana. So there's a very big distinction between directional sadhana and non-directional bhakti. Now, this transition from directional to non-directional is massive. It is a massive transition internally. When a sadhak reaches that border of 9 forms of devotion, the border meaning it borders off and begins to see the 10th bhakti, the Prem-Lakshana Bhakti. That's where this non-directional state opens up. So when, for example, a devotee of Bhagavan Krishna is worshipping the murti of Sri Krishna, yes, that is a directional bhakti. We have to start there. Continue that. Upasana. Absolutely. Radha and Krishna. Fine. Continue. But then what happens as devotion increases, that same Paramatma is seen anywhere the devotee looks. You can look at a plant, a tree, a house, a human being, a squirrel, an elephant. It doesn't matter. Anywhere, wherever we look, you are present. That bhavana comes, that is a bhavanatmak state. It is a bhavana, bhavana means bhav. Bhav is emotion that has been extremely purified. That is called bhav. That is called sadbhav. So the purified emotion allows our interaction with all other people, places, situations, circumstances, objects of the world, animals, all beings, plants, trees. The interaction in totality is through the highly purified vision. But to purify that vision is why we have scriptures, mandirs, temples, images, murtis, guru paramparas, why we have all of that. It is to reach that point of purification where our internal space is cleared out, the clutter is gone, and only Prem remains. Nothing else remains. No other disturbance remains, no other distortion remains, no other klesh, dvesh, rag, none of those things remain anymore. No negative emotion remains at all. It is a very evolved state of realization from the heart, from inside out. Such an individual would be called a great saint. Saint is not by externalities, it is by the quality of realization of prema. How much prema is opened up. Non-directional love is where the emotion, the normal human emotion, has jumped into a totally different dimension. It is a dimension where love is flowing continuously. Not just within the normal human emotions, but it's flowing at a much higher stage. Now, let's understand this a little bit more technically. So, if you remember, just a quick review, from the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, the Vedanta tradition in there is what is called the Bahir Shakti, the material potency, and the Tatastha Shakti. That is the Jivatma. That's the marginal sentient potency. Who are we according to Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva and Gaudiya Vedanta? That is, we are Bhagwan Krishna's Tatastha Shakti, marginal energy or marginal sentient potency, the Jivatma or individual soul, not as separate independent entities, but rather a derivative reflection or attenuated expansion emerging from the single ultimate source of reality, Swarupa Shakti. It's a loaded sentence. All of these sentences you'll see here are very loaded, so we have to really slowly understand them. The concept here is that Bhagwan, Paramatma, is a real tattva, real being. It's not simply some imagination or illusion or something like that, or some human concocted fantasy. No. That Paramatma is the cause of all causes. It's only one tattva. And that tattva has infinite realities, and it is living in its own Swarupa. That is Swarupa Shakti. So the Swarupa Shakti is the ultimate source of all of creation. So who are we? We are Jivatma, having the same substance as Paramatma, but is within the position of Bahir Shakti. Bahir Shakti is the external material potency, that is the material universe. So the Jivatma is connected and pretty much rolling around inside the material universe. That rolling around inside the material universe, being stuck inside the material universe, that is Maya. So the Bahir Shakti is associated with the manifested physical universe, governed by space-time frameworks. And the dynamics of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Right? So the Bahir Shakti of Bhagwan is where the physical universe that we see, that is coming from that Bahir Shakti. And that is where we have space, time, causality, these principles in physics. And the dynamics of the three gunas of Maya are present. Just hold. So these three gunas are Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, lucidity, activity and inertia. Now what are they? And how do they connect with Bhakti and Shakti? So let's go into that a little bit today. These are very profound subjects. We need to really go slowly and carefully go into them. They're understandable though. Three gunas of Maya is in our experience. Hamare anubhav mein hi hai. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva is mode of goodness. It is where there is a lot of light from inside. There's a lot of clarity in the buddhi. Inside, their emotions are flowing in a very pure way. This is called sattvic activity. Sattva guna. Guna meaning quality. It is within Maya, no doubt. But it is a doorway out of Maya. So that is Sattva Gun. Rajogun, Rajas, is passions. Wanting the experiences, the passionate experiences of life. Many examples, tasty foods, the sexual experience is another prime example. Lot of money, lot of position, lot of, Vishaya Bhog, jisko Vishaya Bhog, big homes, luxury cars, whatever, things like that. Those enjoyments are there too in life. We're not denying any of that. That is certainly it's part of Rajas. And the tamas is non-activity or inertia, not wanting to do anything. We experience these things in our lives. We get up some days, say, I don't want to do anything today. I have no passion for anything. Kuch bhi nahi karda. I just want to sleep. That's it. This is called tamas. Tamogun. So these three gunas of Maya are experienced by the Jivatma based on the state of mind, based on state of evolution. That is why when we take a spiritual path, we are trying to realize Paramatma that is beyond all three gunas of Maya. And to realize that Paramatma that is beyond the three gunas of Maya, this is why we have 9 forms of devotion. That is why we get up in the morning and do morning satsang, and then we try to increase our connection with Paramatma slowly. It is not like somebody can just jump into that 24-hour connection. No, you cannot jump into that. It gradually increases over time. And then eventually one gets situated and fixated in bhakti. That situation and fixation in bhakti over time is an intermediate goal. That is like level 2. If you want to put it as 3 different levels, that would be level 2. Level 1 is to start the path of 9 forms of devotion. Navda bhakti chalu kar dena jivan mein. What is there to lose? Nothing to lose, everything to gain. And not to waste time. So start the 9 forms of devotion slowly and gradually. We're doing it every day in the morning here, 1 hour or more. And then throughout the day, this should continue in some form or another. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. One form of devotion should be present. Even when we're performing worldly activity, perform the activity and offer it at the feet of Bhagavan Krishna. You don't carry anything inside the head. No karma will be accumulated. Right? So these are the things to do. Now, as we do this is level 1. As we continue further, eventually a bhakta gets situated in bhakti. Bhakti gets established inside the mind, senses, indriyas, antakaran, inside one's life. That is level 2. That is a big thing. But we can get there. Don't lose heart. There are always going to be ups and downs. There are always going to be some things changing here and around. That's always going to happen. That's the nature of the world. That is the nature of the material power of God. वो एक माया का स्वरूप है, and that is to be respected also. We cannot never disrespect anything actually, because that is all, in some way it is all God's power that is working there. Again, that's another subject altogether. Some other time we'll cover it. But in 10th bhakti, there is the solidification of bhakti in one's life, and then one begins to perform even more God-related activities, hour by hour, day by day. And that reaches the 3rd stage. That 3rd stage is Prem-Lakshana Bhakti. That 3rd stage is where in every action you cannot forget Paramatma. So in some way or another, the manan chintan chalta hai, somewhere or another, Bhagwan ke saath connection rehta hi hai. That, in some form or other, maybe through mantras, through the murti of Paramatma, through the bhajan kirtans, with the stotras, with just sitting silently and remembering Bhagwan, contemplating on the scriptures, that contemplation, Shravan, Manan, Nididhasanam. In some form or another, the connection doesn't break. So that is the transition from level 2 to level 3. And in that transition from level 2 to level 3 is where there is And there is a great amount of energy that has just come together. Wastage of energy has stopped completely. You cannot transition from level 2 to level 3 until and unless there is a total stoppage of the wastage of energy. That's what Bhagavan Krishna is saying, in that Vyavasatmika buddhirekeha kurunandana bahushaka hanantasya buddhayo vyavasayinam. Most people's mind is dispersed. Bahushaka hanantasya. Shaka means different places, it's just a dispersion in different ways. That dispersion stops. Even though we interact in diverse places, our internal mental activity of the antakarana is not dispersed. And when we reach that stage of non-dispersion, then our interaction is a non-directional bhakti. Now you see these 2 points very carefully. Level 2 to level 3 transition is where there is non-dispersion of Shakti. That non-dispersion of Shakti, which is energy, allows for the opening in the 9 chakras, the Medha Nadi as well as the Shushmana Nadi. All the nadis open up, 72,000 nadis, they open completely in the right way. All the blocks are gone in the chakra system, and we enter into the 10th bhakti. That is, this Sahasrara chakra opens up. Sahasrara chakra is a 1,000-petal lotus. So this is from a Kundalini point of view, but it will happen automatically. We don't have to worry about these chakras opening and all that. That automatically will happen when we reach the bhakti, and the God will take care of that. We don't have to worry about all those things. So in the bhakti yoga, that is the most beautiful part of this. You don't have to worry about activating chakras and all. Everything will be activated in the right way. In the right balance, it will be activated. What we have to keep attention to is to purify the heart. Our goal should be that, to purify. Our goal is actually Bhagwan, but to reach Paramatma, to bring the antakarana into a Shuddha state, Shuddha antakarana. So when we keep attention in that and continue the 9 forms of devotion, automatically things will eventually balance out the way they need to be. And it will transform the personality into a spiritual personality. Okay, so now this is interesting. We have a personality, a psychological personality. Again, personality psychology is a huge area. Many different types of personality are there. Identity theory, personality theory. So many things are there. Fine. But that transforms. It transforms in what way? Yes, the name still remains the same and our memories are still there. Everything is still there. But we are no longer stuck in those limitations anymore. The personality changes into a state of bhakta, that one is infused with bhakti that radically changes the personality of the individual, where the qualities of devotion spring about. So the Jivatma is now a bhakta. Bhakta means a devotee. And bhakti is infused inside the system. And from that, when we reach 10th bhakti, the 3rd stage opens up, non-directional love. That is where the bhakta becomes a mukta. So there's 3 stages. There's the stage of the bound soul, that is called Jivatma. That Jivatma or Baddha Jiv. In stage 1, you're trying to start process of bhakti. As that evolves, it reaches stage 2. Stage 2 is where there is solidification of bhakti. Bhakti has been established. 9 forms of devotion are really flowing amazingly. That is stage 2. That is, now one is called a bhakta at that point. That is called bhakta kehte hai. One has become a bhakta. And then stage 3 is that same bhakta has now become a mukta. Right? So in the stage 1 is about our reclaiming our humanity. It's a very dharmic life, right kind of living, thinking, all those things, they all come into the picture. So this is stage 1. So become a human being first. That is stage 1. Stage 2 is become a bhakta. Stage 2, become a mukta. Stage 3. Bhagwan Swaminarayan ki jo Shikshapatri hai, 212 verses are exactly about this. To go from the Manushya stage, the first many verses are about becoming our human being. Just because we have a human body doesn't mean we're a human being. Human being is one who has dharma, one who has righteous living, one who knows how to live this life in the best possible way. इसको धार्मिक जीवन कहते हैं. फिर धार्मिक जीवन doesn't mean religious affiliations and creating problems for each other. Dharma means the right actions, verbal, mental, physical. Dharma gneo sadachara shruti smurti prapaditan. That is a foundation. Without that, we will not be able to reach these two stages. How is that possible? If I hold on negative emotion towards others, I have hatred towards others, I'm hurting others, doing things like that, or hurting myself, smoking cigarettes or taking lots of uncontrolled alcohol and all kinds of crazy things, that I'm doing to myself. How can I ever realize bhakti? Kaise hoga? How is that possible? Wasting time in life on useless endeavors. Bhakti nahi aisi milti. So in stage one has to really develop the base. You've got to build the base. We have to build the base, the right base, so that it is clear we want bhakti. Jivan mein kya chahiye? Sachin is speaking right now. I have to ask myself every day, do I really want bhakti? And do I have bhakti? Where am I right now? Look inside. Check with the scriptures. And on that basis, one can find where we are. Check with one's gurus. If you have guru, check with enlightened people, whatever it might be. But find out exactly where we are in this entire link. And then from that, this beautiful development is going to happen. I just want to cover just very quickly 2 more points. So I just want to go back to this sentence very quickly, then we'll stop in just a second here. Remember the 3 points here today, that is Bahir Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and Swarupa Shakti. Bahir Shakti is the material world. Tatastha Shakti is who we are, the Jivatma, the Chaitanya Jivatma, Satchit Ananda. And Bhagwan ki jo Swarupa Shakti, that is Radhika ji, wo Swarupa Shakti hai. Now, these 3 connect together. They connect together beautifully. They're always connected together. But when devotion develops towards Bhagwan, he removes the binding of the Bahir Shakti and takes us to the higher Shakti, Swarupa Shakti. Right, so the 3 gunas of Maya are eventually transcended. The Tatastha Shakti, meanwhile, refers to the innumerable individual souls or finite conscious entities positioned liminally between the spiritual reality and material manifestation. Material manifestation is there. The Jivatma are infinite in number. They are inside the material world, but they are situated, positioned liminally. Liminally, they're like kind of in a in-between stage. Between the spiritual reality, that is Vaikuntha Dham, Vaikuntha Golok, Shveti, wo sab adhyatmik dham hai, and then the material world or the Brahmand. So these marginal souls can potentially orient themselves towards divine service, seva, or towards material entanglement, determined by their subtle dispositions and choices. This is a very powerful sentence. Bahut mahatva ki baat hai ye. If you can see it on the screen there, that who we are, marginal souls. You can go in either direction. Towards Divya Seva, Bhagwan ki Seva, Bhagwan ke paas hum ja sakte, or we can be stuck in the material entanglements based on the subtle disposition and choices. We have choices, and our dispositions, our tendencies. You see, so these are some key points to keep in mind, that we are having a choice. Every single day we are alive. Every single hour we are alive. We have a choice. Do we want to reach at the feet of Sri Krishna Bhagavan? वहाँ पहुँचना है कि संसार में ही आना है, come again and again and again and again. It is our choice. That freedom is given to us by the blessings of Bhagavan Krishna, Radhika ji, and all the incarnations. We have opportunity for satsanga. We have opportunity to contemplate on beautiful ideas. इसको chance दिया है. This दुर्लभ बात है. सत्संग की बात बहुत दुर्लभ है. संतों का संग दुर्लभ है, शास्त्रों का वचन दुर्लभ है. Most people are just living an animal life. That's all it is. They may have intelligence, but it is going in only animal or less than animal direction. So that's what that is. That is what it is. That will change in time. Bhagavad Ichha. But we don't worry about that. Main thing is that those who have gotten opportunity to enter into satsanga, वो बहुत बड़ी बात है. That's not it is like the topmost entrance. It's like getting into a postdoctoral program at Princeton University or Harvard University. Even if you want to get into that, not be able to go into that. The preparation has to be there. Bhagwan Krishna स्वयं कहते हैं बहुनाम जन्मनाम अन्ते ज्ञानवानाम प्रपद्यते. Then he also says, that after so much sanskar is there, then satsang is obtained in life. Yes, it is durlabha, right? The human body is very rare. The mumukshutvam is very rare. Shankaracharya ji कहते हैं. And Mahapurusha Saunshreya, bade bade santon ka sang, is exactly what we're doing in the Vaishnava Parampara, particularly with regards to Bhakti. Ye sab bade bade santon ka sang, we're doing this together, in this way. ये बहुत बड़ी कृपा है. भगवान की दया से ऐसा सत्संग मिलता है, ऐसे कॉन्सेप्ट मिलते हैं. Otherwise we will all be lost just in the sansar only. So इसीलिए ये सब परमात्मा की बहुत कृपा दृष्टि होती है. कृपा दृष्टि तो सब पर है, ऐसा नहीं है. But who is wanting that कृपा? It's like this. If a billionaire says, I'm going to make you a millionaire overnight, he can do it. His person has $500 billion, आपके नाम पर check लिखता है, okay, I'm giving you $5 million. You're a millionaire instantly. But we said, no, they take it and put it inside the trash can. This remain poor then. What else? ऐसी बात है ये. भगवान कृष्ण openly, राधिका जी openly देते हैं भक्ति. You're a trillionaire, billionaire, beyond महा आनंद देने के लिए आए वो किसको लेना है? ऐसी बात है, किसको समझता है ये सब? It's difficult to realize, difficult to know what it is. You give give a $5 billion check to a 2-year-old kid. He says, no, I want a piece of candy. I don't want this piece of paper. He doesn't know what it is. इसको महिमा नहीं है. भगवत गीता क्या है, भागवतम क्या है, ये सब वैष्णव आचार्य का महिमा क्या है, बड़े बड़े संत परंपरा, what is the mean? इसका महिमा ही नहीं है. Otherwise every मंदिर would be jam packed all the time. Nobody would want to come out of that. ऐसी बात, nobody would want to come out of satsang ever. There are people like that, but they have realized what is the glory. इसीलिए इन गुजराती विषय महिमानी खामी છે. महिमा સમજા તો નથી, એટલા માટે ક્લેશ ઉભા થાય છે. That's why we get stuck. Getting stuck in the material world is like the 2-year-old child running after these pieces of chocolate. When a $500 million check is given to that child, the child doesn't know what that check is, doesn't know what money is, doesn't know what the $500 million is, and is running blindly and crying and shouting and screaming for pieces of candy. ऐसी जीव की स्थिति है. This is a जीव की स्थिति, level 1 की स्थिति ऐसी है. And from that, when this realization comes, भगवान क्या है, भगवान की भक्ति क्या है, ये जीवन क्या है, ये संत परंपरा क्या है, जब ये सब हमारे जीवन में बैठ जाता है, then we begin to realize, my God, ये सब क्या है, कितनी अलौकिक बात है, क्या कौन मिल गया है और कैसे हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं जीवन में. ऐसी सब बात है. और then it's an अनुभव. Obviously the $500 million check doesn't taste like anything. Which has a taste, the $500 million check or the pieces of candy and chocolate that the 2-year-old wants? Which gives the immediate experience? The pieces of candy do, not the check. But the person doesn't know what the check is. He has to deposit that check, and there are endless number of candies inside that check. ऐसी बात है. भगवान की मूर्ति के साथ कैसे संबंध जोड़ना, भगवान का स्वरूप है उनके साथ कैसे स्वरूप जोड़ना, भगवान के जो भक्त है, it is depositing the check. It is depositing the check meaning what? Depositing 9 forms of bhakti inside the mind, inside our heart. And when we do that, जो क्या चमत्कार होता है इसमें से आप अनुभव कर सकते हैं. We can experience this. अनुभव की बात है ये सब. But that takes time to learn how to deposit the 9 forms of devotion inside, and there is no charge for that. There's nothing we need to give anything other than our time, our effort, our energy. And all the fear goes away, all the problems go away. Everything shatters, the ignorance shatters completely. The माया की जो पकड़ है वो निकल जाती है. भगवान कृष्ण स्वयं कहते हैं कि वो मायापति है, वो माया के कंट्रोलर है, और माया उनकी दिव्य शक्ति है, वो जो बाहिर शक्ति है. शिव और वो माया जो है माया will gladly release the जीवात्मा. वो भी भक्त ही है. महामाया is a devotee of Sri Krishna in one sense. She's ready to release the जीवात्मा. When the Jivatma says, I want to be released completely from your clutches, she says, absolutely, I'm ready to release you. If you want that. Otherwise, if you don't want that, I'll keep you inside the womb of Maya. There's a beautiful bhajan, in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, I used to sing that. Jene જોઈએ તે આવો મોક્ષ માગવારે લોલ આજ ધર્મવંશીને દ્વાર નર નારી જેને જોઈએ તે આવો મોક્ષ માગવારે. It's a beautiful bhajan. Anyway, let's stop here for now. I went way over time, but that's all right. It's all okay. Bhagwan ki jai Simbaraji. We'll continue on this further. Lots of amazing ideas are coming up. जितना हम सुन सकते हैं, कॉन्टेम्पलेट ऑन दिस आइडियाज. भगवान और भगवान के जो बड़े बड़े संत हैं उनके चरण में अनंत कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम नमस्कार. Let's do the closing mantra. Om Dhyanamoolam Gururmurti Mantramulam Gururvakyam Pujamulam Gururpadam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva Tameva Bandhusha Sakha Tameva Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Sri Krishnam Tvam Gatir Mama. Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu.